Hi, it's Lynn Oz, and I have a special guest with me tonight, Bob Kudla with TradeLikeAGenius.com. Bob, thank you for joining me tonight. We've got a really super interesting prophetic subject to talk about tonight that has to do with something that was in the news. I'm excited to talk about it, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I mean it's just amazing. It's just like the Bible come to life.
It sure is. In fact, let's get started on it right now. Uh, Israel agrees Assad stays in power, and Russia is guaranteeing peace between Israel and Syria right now. Now, Bob, where have we heard this before?
Let me think. Maybe is it Ezekiel 37 and 38?
Could be. I mean, you just can't tell these days. I guess it's one of those things that it sounds straight from the Bible, but then we have to watch to see what happens next. I think we have to watch to see who signs something and if it's 7 years, you know?
Yeah, well, what's interesting to me is that, Russia is obviously a player, Syria is obviously a player, Israel is obviously a player, but in addition to that, Russia has agreed with Israel if Israel backs off and enters into a peace arrangement with Syria, that Russia will ensure that Iran is removed from Syrian lands and Hezbollah moves back into Lebanon. And so Iran is part of that cabal too. And then in addition to that is that, Saudi Arabia is actually been siding with Israel. People don't realize that Saudi Arabia is so scared of Iran that they have been quietly supporting a lot of action in Israel's behalf, and so in Ezekiel they also sit there and they're watching because they're one of the kings of the south. They're watching, the Gog and Magog come down to take a spoil, and then you have the U.S. sitting on the sideline. The kings on the coastland, and it's just fascinating to me. I don't know in the end who's going to be the one that's going to pull the trigger to guarantee peace. Maybe somebody else steps in and says, "Hey, I could get this thing over the edge." But man, it's just amazing to me how that all just always stays in the forefront.
Yeah, we're just seeing a lot of different things. I know I say this all the time, but we really are. I can't help it. We're seeing so many different things happen. We got this volcano over in Hawaii. We've got what happened in Yellowstone about the crack they found. Just all this different stuff with the economy, weather. Now we've got this peace deal, which I just think it's worth watching. It may not be the peace deal, but with everything else that's happening, I think that is something we definitely have to pay attention to, don't you?
Yeah, and also I just was reading while I was waiting for our interview to start. They said Little Krakatoa, the Krakatoa volcano that exploded and caused a year without summer, has just came alive again and is erupting. And so, it's just interesting how these things all come into play. And then with the sunspots are at zero, and all the wheat and corn are down for the year, and the surplus stocks are being wiped out. So I think that's coming back into the forefront as well.
Well, we were talking too, just real quick, and I was interested about the fact that, Trump isn't happy with the Federal Reserve hiking the interest rates. I think that kind of plays into everything we're talking about too. What's your take on that?
Yeah, and and that's an area of interest for us because we're obviously traders, and I mean, and when he mentioned that today, the stock market went into like a 1 minute spasm.
Yeah, and but well, before you go on, I do want to tell people real quick. Sorry to interrupt, but Bob and we mentioned the website. In the beginning, has a trading company, and I just encourage all of you to go check it out and see what he's about because you can make money, and it's time to prepare for this stuff. and it's tradelikeagenius.com. And that link will be posted below the video. And Bob, after you're done talking, go ahead and tell them a little bit more too about what you do and why it would be beneficial for them to get on board with you.
Yeah, sure. What people don't realize is in 2015, China went into a temper tantrum and they started devaluing their currency really aggressively. And what that caused in 2015 and going into 2016, we had an 18% stock market correction because they basically blew up the markets. And as everybody knows that Trump has been going after the Chinese for unfair trade practices. Well, the Chinese have been just dumping currency like crazy. And yesterday they really did a hard devaluation. And our Federal Reserve, instead of making sure that we have a stable currency, is allowing the European Union, the Japanese, and the Chinese to devalue their currency against the dollar, which kills our farmers, which kills our miners, which kills our manufacturing that are exporting. And if it gets serious enough, it causes what's called a risk-off event, and it could just drop the stock market down 10, 20% in a matter of days. And last time it happened, 18% in 5 days. So Trump's sitting back here and he's like, where's my Federal Reserve? Aren't you supposed to be paying attention to these things? And they're on their own little agenda because, the Federal Reserve is not for the American people. It's to make sure the banks are rich. And so he decided today, he went on CNBC and he let it have it with both barrels. He basically said, what are you guys doing? Aren't you watching what's going on in the world? Aren't you, all this hard work we've done to build this economy up, you're raising interest rates and China's devaluing. You're going to kill us. And that freaked a lot of people out. So now Trump has turned his gun sights on the Federal Reserve. And the other thing too is, it's Trump against the world here. The Federal Reserve is part of the deep state, and he's not going to let them try to paint him as the villain for any stock market crash, because that's exactly what they would do. So he got the first salvo off very quickly. And we're interested at Trade Genius because we trade, and we noticed a month ago the cryptocurrencies came alive because of this agitation in China. And plus, our institutions now are starting to start that process. And then gold and silver, I think, marked the bottom today with Trump's news because they've been driving the dollar up so high that it's killing gold and silver off. And so we think it marked the bottom of gold and silver. So I know a lot of your listeners love to have hard assets, and I think our long suffering is over. Now, having said that, just real quick on us, we're traders at tradelikeagenius.com, and we have services that we help people trade either the stock market or the crypto market. We have algorithms that provide buy and sell signals to help people know when to get in, when to get out. We're doing extremely well with those. And then we also have software that people can actually either access through their computer or load onto their computer that also has buy and sell signals that are very effective. In addition to that, we have chat rooms, trading rooms, and we have a whole series of training courses on how to trade in the stock market. And we've been doing this for a long time. Lynn and we've been doing this together for over 2.5 years. I can't believe how time flies, Lynn. And so we're really helping. Yeah, we're really helping people make money, and also preparing for when these market dislocations happen, because we're not surprised by them. Everybody has a mantra of where things are going. We have a different take on the market, and we're making people money, and we're also preparing them for what's to come, and it's going to catch a lot of people unaware.
I'm right there with you, and I think there are going to be so many people caught unaware, and I'm always trying to urge people to get prepared in every way, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, you name it. Now, people have a tendency, because you're my sponsor, to think, oh, we're just trying to sell them something they don't need. But I have been offered tons of different sponsors. I selected sponsors that A, were Christian and knew about prophecy, and B, had something that I believe in, that I believe people need and that people need to do. because I'm very concerned about the amount of people that are just sitting around not preparing for the things that are going to happen. And it doesn't matter. I have to say this because I do get emails from people and comments saying, well, I'm a pre-tribber and Jesus is coming. I don't have to worry about it. So I want to address that. It doesn't matter what your belief is, whether you're pre-trib, mid, or post-trib. Okay, pre-tribbers believe in the birth pangs. Pre-tribbers also believe that they are going to have loved ones or friends and people they know left behind. So if you are a pre-tribber, you don't know what's going to happen during those birth pangs. And you also want to prepare for your loved ones that are going to be left. So I just wanted to address that. It does not matter. You need to get prepared. And there has never been a better time than right now to be prepared for the things that are coming.
Well, plus we never know, when Jesus is going to return anyway. And, and you and I always talk about this. My favorite parable is the ant and the grasshopper. And so a lot of people, some people joke around, hey, I'm not going to pay my credit cards because, Jesus is coming soon. We have no idea. And so we kind of could sense the seasons, but, we're supposed to be good stewards and make sure that, we're taking care of our family. And we don't know what birth pang may come in front of us before Jesus decides to return. And so you just have to live every day as if he's not coming and live a right life, but also live a life that you have to survive in this world.
That's right. I mean, we never know. And some tragedy could strike at any time. I mean, look at the tragedies that have taken place all over the world, back in, 2011, the tsunami in Japan. I mean, anything could happen, and we need to be better prepared and be prepared spiritually. As I said, that's very important because your eternity is most important, and be prepared physically. So Bob, I fully support what you do and appreciate it. And I just want to urge people out there to go to tradelikeagenius.com. Check out his website. And if you have any questions or concerns, there is a phone number you can call. And they do have an email that's listed. The information will also be posted beneath the video here on YouTube in the video description. So, Bob, do you have any final things you'd like to share with the listeners before we end the program?
Yeah, I think, one of the things, Lynn, is that the next 6 weeks are usually the most rockiest weeks of the year. I think it's going to be amplified because of what's going on geopolitically, and also because of the election coming up for the midterm. And I think it's going to be very volatile. And I think a reset is happening around the world. And I think things that have worked in the past are not going to work in the future. And people need to be prepared to pivot and look to invest in some different things that work in times of stress. And that's where we like to help people. And yeah, it's change is good, change is scary, but God's in charge. So I just wake up every day and just press on.
That's what you have to do. You just have to wake up and press on. Take a moment and give God thanks that you woke up again and have another day to get it right,
I mean, look at the worst thing that happened to us. We die and we're in heaven. So, you should be confident in your life.
Well, thank you so much, Bob. And it was great to have you. It was great to have you on the show again. And for those of you listening, once again, the information is posted in the video description right below this video on the YouTube channel. So I encourage you to click on it and go check out Trade Genius. And again, that is tradelikeagenius.com. Thanks again, Bob, and God bless you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Lynn.